Welcome back, everyone. More top eight European bracket playoff action for the Badass Women of Hearthstone tournament here on twitch.tv. I am back to bring you yet another match, and this time am joined on the commentator desk by my good friend rebobson.
Hello. How's it
Good to
going,
see you, my
Cinder?
friend. I am great. We have another great matchup. This one, Rebob, I am over the moon to be able to cast with you. This is going to be a good one. It's going to be the teacher versus Kat, the one and only Katrina, who just recently finished number one on standard ranked play in two different servers. So this is going to be a hot one.
Yeah, that's a absolutely ridiculous achievement. Just
Yeah,
like I am in awe, and the deck she did it with is one that she's brought today, and it
yeah.
hasn't been banned.
Has not. It is still in the pool. So let's talk about the decks here briefly, Rubab. The teacher bringing in the odd rogue. Excuse me. Yes, odd rogue, the hunter, the secret hunter, and the even paladin against Cat's spell hunter, Hakar druid, and odd paladin. So how did these two lineups shake out in last hero standing?
Well, just going by the numbers, the teacher needs to rely very heavily on this even paladin, just kind of going all the way through.
Yeah.
Cat's got this Hakar druid, which doesn't really seem like it'll do a great deal. There's a chance that we'll just see her throw that out at the beginning of the match to try and get a win with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there is the Spell Hunter, which just looks like it kind of dominate this aggressive lineup from the teacher. So
Right.
getting through that is going to be the teacher's number one priority because this odd rogue just doesn't look like it's going to get anything done in this match.
No, and Kat really, I feel like she made a meta read and B has a pretty good lineup for last year's standing. That Hakar Druid is really just there for the occasional control deck that she might have to take out of the set. But otherwise, this is going to be a pretty good lineup. Going to be a challenging set for anybody taking an aggressive lineup. And the teacher is going to be first, but the teacher is no slouch. She's had a very strong record coming through the Swiss. So we'll see if she can get on the board here with one of these aggressive decks first up.
Yep, it's going to be just a case of hit phase as much as possible, hope it sticks. And
And
yep, like I said, we're going to see that druid thrown out first against the teacher's odd rogue.
yeah, a little bit of a last hurrah for Cold Blood before it moves to 2 mana next week.
In
It's going to
three
be the
days.
in just 3 days. And so if you're enjoying this high powered offense from Odd Rogue, play with it now before Cold Blood gets shuffled off into the Even Rogue catalog. But for now, yeah, going to be putting that pressure onto the Hikar Druid's face first up.
Yep, good old even rogue. You know the new meta breaker, as it were. Of course, even shaman was banned, so we're not even going to get a little last hurrah for flame tongue totem.
True. And let's not dismiss the even rogue just yet because I've heard someone say in the same phrase, Rebob, even hook tusk rogue, and I'm kind of there for that.
So both of these players, like, let's talk about these opening hands because both these players have very good ones.
Oh yeah,
Cat has just Gadget Zan, like a Gadget Zan turn is in this hand right now, but the teacher just
repackaged.
has a lot of very early offense with the Diamol, which is going to get cold blooded, and Cat doesn't really have a way of dealing with it for the time being.
No, I feel like Kat went on Amazon and typed in miracle turn package deal, and this was the result that Amazon gave her. But the teachers, this is an incredibly fast start. Dire Mole, Cold Blood, we're off to the races already. And yeah, as you said, Cat really has nothing to do here except hero power.
We may have to see a pounce hero power just to get rid of this mole, because otherwise that thing's going to be swinging away turn after turn, and I think Cat needs to deal with it. right now.
Now, how about
Yeah, repetitive damage, the name of the game for Odd Rogue. So yeah, cat has this decision to make here between and using her tools now to try to answer this repetitive damage, or save it for later to get to the power turn. But she's not going to get to that miracle turn. She doesn't deal with this 5-3 right now. So Pounce going into the dire maul.
And both players have drawn their dud card, as it were, in the matchup. Akar and Baku coming to both players' hands. So really, it's kind of evened out in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one consideration for Cat there using the pounce would be she no longer has any way of dealing with something like vicious fledgling where it to come out. So seeing just a dagger on turn 3, even if it was with a deadly poison, is a real indication to Cat that the teacher's hand right now is not fantastic.
True enough. And already down to 16 health for Cat on turn 3. Although this ferocious howl is going to help a little bit to pick up some armor, but she's going to opt for the acolyte of pain here, Rebob.
Yep, it might soak up 4 damage from this dagger, and there's the vicious fledgling that I was just talking about. Cat's going to have to deal with that very quickly.
And Wrath coming off of the acolyte. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's easy, right, Cinder? Just
right.
Draw the card you need.
Exactly. It's just a 1 in 20 to draw the exact answer card that I need for this specific play that just happened. So yeah, no problem. For Cat, it's just as easy as that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of cards in this deck which deal with vicious fledgling, to be fair. There's Spellstones, there's the Wraths, there's the second copy of Pounce, there's even double Naturalize if you get really desperate. So the odds were in Cat's favor there, we should say.
Sure. And with both of the auctioneers now in hand for Cat, she goes ahead and opts for the biology project to kind of slam her foot on the mana acceleration and get this game really going quickly. Teacher, interestingly, with all that mana she has access to, down to just 2 cards in hand.
Yep, and that was not really the biggest turn that the teacher could have made with that much mana. And again, a really good indication that there's probably a Baku in there somewhere.
Oof.
Or
These
Leroy.
top decks from Cat.
And Cat goes all the way up to 25 health.
My goodness. I love how quickly she just ripped that auctioneer and just went to town. I noticed that a lot when people play auctioneer style decks, they'll think about what they're going to do if they draw ABC and X, Y, and Z and how they're going to sequence it. And I have learned, back from the Miracle Road days, you just slam that sucker and you just go and you just play the cards as they come out. And it's exactly what she did, and she got hugely rewarded for it.
Yeah, it's really important to, I think, get gadgets and going at the start of the turn, because people think about what they're going to do, then they play the gadgets and then they run out of time. Is what happens quite a lot. And the teacher's going to have to deal with this gadget sound. This is so much damage to have to sink into one card, especially when the second one is in Cat's hand.
And and Cat's got a decent amount of follow up here in her hand. She'll be able to plant the other one, the other auctioneer if she wants, and she's got a couple of cheap spells to keep the engine going. And the teacher's just about out of gas. There's Naturalize coming into hand now.
Yep, but that would give the teacher a little bit more gas for it to be played. And I wouldn't be surprised to see just the Acolyte of Pain, maybe the Barkskin on it, and just Crunching Paths, draw some more cards.
Just drawing cards, throwing caution to the wind, saying, I'm going to win this by powering through this deck. I am not going to win by playing defense. And Cat up to 31 health off the back of those armor gain cards. Teacher picking up the Void Ripper off the top is not great, although it does provide an answer for this buffed up Acolyte.
Yep, then she can just face tank a mere 6 damage. only get one card drawn for Cat, but then you're only developing a 3/3. And what,
Right.
like you say, your opponent is at 31 health. You're an aggressive deck. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to plan a 3/3 on our accelerated turn 9 here. So Baku the Moon Eater going to come down and try to accelerate the damage a little bit, but here comes the second Auctioneer turn. We're off to the races, but not the damage races, the card draw races. Innervate coming off the top. So
This is
many
going faster
options
than I
here.
can keep count. Fluke's Glorious Goop is going to allow for even more mana gain with the Innovate, with the Biology Project. Probably might actually see this Naturalize come down the Baku, as it is the biggest individual threat in the Teacher's deck. And with Fluke's Glorious Gloop active, it will essentially cycle itself in terms of mana. And Cat's just drawing all of the removal now.
Yeah, and I like the naturalize commit now. With Teacher down to just one card, figuring letting her go up to 3 is not much better. But like so many cards just ripping out of the deck for Cat. This is unbelievable.
And really, Cinder, this is why you start with Gadgets and
Yes.
as soon as the turn starts, because Cat has been playing Gadgets and cards this entire turn and still almost roped.
And Cat kind of pumped the brakes a little bit there, and I think smartly, because she didn't want to start hitting fatigue before she could get a combo set up.
Yep, there are 4 cards left in Cat's deck, by the way. Who needs Maya's Unstable Element when you have Gadgets and Auctioneers?
We talked about a little bit heading into this matchup that the Druid was kind of the throwaway. This is just to, it's going to lose. Just get it out of the way. Maybe it'll pick up a win. Rebob, it may have just picked up the win.
I think it quite possibly has, Cinder. There was one possible avenue, I think, for the Teacher, which would just be the Gadgets and somehow manages to stay alive and Cat hits too many turns of fatigue. But now there is an avenue for the Gadgets to just very nicely kill itself off. We can see the Wild Pyromancer along with the Spellstone on the Crystallizer, which will just kill everything on the board.
Yeah.
And
the Teacher just... Sorry,
oh.
following turn.
I was just thinking about the Innovate to start with there, and I'm not sure what the line of thought was there.
It's with the Teacher just being unable to answer that Gadgets and Auctioneer, Cat's just been able to just burn this entire deck out.
Yeah, Cat's
card
has completely dictate the tempo of this game.
Yeah.
To the extent that she's comfortable just playing her car out onto the board, it will die off on the following turn when Cat draws her final card. Then, of course, the King Torwaggle Naturalize will just end the game.
This has almost been like poetry, Rhubarb. Just watching Cat navigate this deck to pinpoint precision and actually maneuver into possibly beating a deck that has usually a very strong game against it. Last card coming up here for Cat is going to be Togwaggle Naturalize on the Kakar, and then it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. The maths when it comes to this deck and the lethal scenarios do always get me. I'm never entirely sure of how exactly the calculations work, but I believe if she was to Togwaggle Naturalize on this turn, it wouldn't quite be lethal. She wants to draw 1 Corrupted Blood herself on the following turn, then Togwaggle Naturalize, and then I believe that would be guaranteed lethal.
And I'm so humbled to be in the presence of people who are so much smarter than I am. I would have just, said, oh, this is how you win the game, right? You just, slam the naturalize and start drawing cards. But no, this is Cat clears the board to just remove any opportunity for the teacher to come back into this game
Yep.
and sets up the Hakar combo, and it's pretty much green light to win this first game in the match.
Yep. I feel like Cat is probably quite safe here at 39 health. There's a Leroy and a Stealthy Deckhand in the teacher's hand, but that's only 8 damage. Need to find another 31 from somewhere. There'll be 3 from the Corrupted Blood, of course.
True.
But probably not going to happen. So let's see the magic happen. So there are now going to be 2 Corrupted Bloods in the deck. So I can't do it off the top of my head exactly how much damage it's going to be, but let's just go with a lot.
A large number, more than the teacher can produce herself to catch up in this damage race.
So it'll be 6, then 9,
7, 8, 9. Oh, and there's another 3. This is just lethal, right?
Yeah, it is just lethal. I'm just not sure how many lethal it is.
Right. Enough. The answer in this situation, Rebop, is enough. And how long do the animations go for? Does it just keep looping until all the damage is done?
Oh yes.
This
this deck is a form of torture. If you do get to the really big damage combo numbers, then this can go on for a really long time.
Oh my goodness.
Go to minus 26, the teacher there. And Cat takes a 1-0 lead with the deck, which was quite considerably her worst going into the teacher's lineup.
This was supposed to be the throwaway. This was the deck to throw at the feet of Last Hero Standing and try to come back from a deficit. Instead, Cat goes up 1-0 and retires what might have been the teacher's strongest deck in this matchup, aside from maybe the Even Paladin.
I'd still say it was probably the Even Paladin. So I think we are 100% going to see that Even Paladin right now, as it does have considerable game against druids in general.
Yeah, without a strong ability to remove big targets, one big tall minion, druid, these slow druids traditionally have a hard time against those kind of decks. So even paladin, even warlock, or combo priests that do inner fire tricks. Those are the kind of decks that give druid the most trouble. So yeah, I think you're right. I think the best call here for the teacher is probably even paladin, but she's going to take her time and consider exactly how this would play out depending on her queue order.
Yeah, so the remaining decks for the teacher, of course, are the Even Paladin we're talking about, as well as the Hybrid Secret Hunter.
Yep.
So the stats say that the Hybrid Secret Hunter is favored against the kind of Miracle Druid style of play, although those are not stats that have been borne out by my personal experiences, which are just they keep killing your Spellstone and then they win. Wild Pyromancer in that matchup is absolutely insane, but sometimes I guess they just don't draw the Wild Pyromancer. It'd be interesting to see how that one plays out.
And the Wild Pyromancer by itself doesn't do it either. It has to be combined with stuff that keeps the Pyromancer alive to clear everything. So it's I can see how it takes a lot of finesse to get the Druid to be favored here, and we're gonna see now exactly which deck the teacher's gonna go with. She's gonna go with the Hunter, and I think I like this revive. I think I would like to see the teacher hold that Even Paladin for last. Try to get the win on the board with the Secret Hunter now. Hold that Even Paladin to counter the rest of Cat's lineup.
Yep, I can see the logic there. Cat's going to hold onto the Gadgets and Auctioneer, just recognizing just how important this card is to this style of deck.
Oh, yeah.
And I like it. But looking at the teacher's hand, first of all, we see a Spellstone. That's always good.
Yeah, that's a good start. You know, it's that this specific druid does not run uh plague, spreading plague. So there's no defense against extremely wide boards. So if
except big wild pyromancer turns.
except for the big wild pyromancer turn. So if that spellstone can hit the board before the pyromancer combo can be assembled, then could be an important card in this matchup.
Could be. So the teacher's going to be thinking about what of these remaining cards to hold on to. Maybe the Wandering Monster is pretty bad in this particular matchup, as just
Mhm.
nothing is going to hit you in the face at any point until
Right.
it's Hakar's Corrupted Bloods after they've drawn all of their cards. But I do really like the keep of the Animal Companion, as just generating minion pressure early is how you win this particular matchup. And people would not be surprised to see it coined out with the Crackling Raise more coming into hand.
Absolutely,
Even,
I would do the same. More
even
traps
if
though come in for the teacher.
even if there is the Dream Secret Hand,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the minions plan is how it's got to go. And will it be Huffer? It's Misha.
Misha's okay too. Just as almost as threatening and a little bit harder to clear. But yeah, and in fact, Cat's gonna leave it up. Just uses it for a card draw off the Wrath and gives the teacher green light to continue to develop here on turn 3.
Wind Fury.
Wind Fury, so good.
That is an 8 damage Misha, and the teacher's going to be very happy to see it, I'm sure.
Cat using the second Wrath now probably to clear that that very bad. Is now here's a question for you, Rebob: is Misha a cat or a bear?
Misha is a bear, Cinder.
Is it?
Misha is 100% a massive bear.
Because the art always looks like a cat to me. Well, now I learned something new.
I
Yeah,
would recommend that you take a closer look at the art of a giant bear.
fair enough.
If that is your idea of a cat, I question your pet decisions.
Well, you know, I mean, everything is a dog in my opinion. It's just different kinds of dogs. Cat using the pounce now to clear the razor maw. But again, Cat having a double auctioneer hand available for the coming turn, so it's not as if that's a big waste throwing that pounce out. Gives her that time to get that turn going. Look at this, the teacher having to play out these secrets now just to have something to do.
Yep. Does juice up the spellstone for the following turn, which can't fault that, and Cat's just going to throw out an Acolyte of Pain here and say go.
This is almost the exact same hand and sequence that Cat had last game.
Yep. Gadget Zan, double Gadget Zan Hakar, a couple cheap spells, but crucially, no Wild Pyromancer. So this spellstone is going to be problematic for Cat when it comes down.
Let's see.
And
Cat's going to
even
think.
Acolyte came down at about the same time last game as well.
I think he did, yeah. Cat's thinking long and hard about whether it's worth attacking face in any scenario, and I don't think it is.
Now, what do you think Cat was considering there at the end of the turn?
I think it was just whether there was any justification to a face attack. I don't think there ever really was. And let's go, Cinder.
Look at
Gadget
this
Zan off
biology.
the races.
Innovate into biology project into Floop Scoop. Man, it's. I mean, the deck is just comprised of nothing but 0 and 1 mana spells, pretty much. But I love the sequence
Ooh.
in which they're coming out for Cat. Another biology project. She might just get to that pyromancer. Actually, putting a naturalize here to answer one of the wolves, and of course draw a card. Moonfire's hitting the Acolyte to draw cards. There's the pyromancer.
And Cat's going to get the news that it is not freezing trap, which is maybe one thing that she was considering. And here we go. Pyromancer's just gonna do a whole lot of stuff here. I can't even keep track of what's happening right now because Cat is going so fast. But I believe this is a full board clear, with
I
Fluke's
believe you're right.
Glorious Gloop has been the absolute MVP this game. So we're just going to have to wait for the animations to keep up with Cat. Wow. And all of
Unbelievable.
Cat's minions stay alive. All of the teachers die. And Cat is down to 7 cards left in deck.
This is, I think this is just a classic case of one of those decks that's so incredibly difficult to pilot, but if you've practiced it, the win rate just goes way up. At the very end of the curve, because Cat's really putting on a show with this deck. This is really something to watch, Rebub.
Watching this makes me feel really dumb.
Right.
I've got no idea what even just happened, but it was mighty impressive. And what does the teacher do in this position?
Yeah.
Like, play subject 9? Draw some secrets? That doesn't feel good. Like killing the gadget stand feels kind of irrelevant at this point.
You in a control matchup, you think, oh, I got to get to Rexar, to maybe start applying some repetitive pressure, but it's so slow. It would Cat's going to be, giving you Hakar Corrupted Bloods by the time you even make your first Build-A-Beast.
Kill command on a 4/1 gadget stand auctioneer. Now that does not feel great. And Cat can go off with auctioneer again if she wants to. But with 6 cards left in the deck, there's not even a need to at this point because double branching paths can get her there by themselves.
Yeah, how much of the board does Cat want to leave active? I wonder. She's going to go ahead and trigger the trap. Oh, my goodness.
Crypt Lord. That's actually quite a good minion for the teacher to get, but it's probably just a little bit too late.
Ferocious Howl, very welcome. Armor plus card draw is exactly what Cat wanted here.
Yeah, Cat's just going for the full armor plan now, saying, I've drawn enough cards. I'm just going to make sure that I don't die, and then her card's going to end the game.
Again. Yeah, Cat now at 44 health. And this Hunter board at this stage of the game against most decks would be threatening, and against what the clock that Cat can has put up against the teacher in both of these games, it just feels like it's not enough. There's just no way she can catch up.
Yep, it's going to be difficult, I would say. Tundra Rhino is 1 card, which can exert a ridiculous amount of pressure if it's left unchecked.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we all know that it's not getting left unchecked.
No. The Spellstone coming in hand for Cat, although going to have to pair it with some armor gain to answer anything approaching Tundra Rhino health levels. But we're going to see if it even matters. Teacher's filling up the board, putting as much damage as she can on the board to put a clock on Cat, but whose clock is faster here?
The player with Wild Pyromancer, I'm assuming.
That's probably not a bad call. So here we go. Pyromancer going to potentially clear this whole board.
I'm running out of cards.
Yeah, but alongside the Bark Skin and the Earthen Scales, it is going to clear literally everything.
Yep, this is gonna be a full clear once again, off the back of this Pyromancer. And you talked about it earlier on, Rebob. The Pyromancer gets all the combo pieces in hand at the right time. Just what Spellstone? Oh, so Cat actually hits the brakes here, which I think is okay. There's bringing the board down to 5 damage against 49 health seems like a reasonable compromise.
Yep, especially when that Pyromancer does need to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Either with the second copy of Flanking Strike, the second Kill Commander, or this 4/1 Wolf. And when your opponent has to sink 4 of their 5 damage into your Pyromancer, and you're at 49, you're feeling pretty good, because next turn is just going to be Hakar, Innovate, Spellstone the Hakar, or possibly Spellstone the Tundra Rhino, if that were to come down. I think maybe that's one thing on Kat's mind as to why she's holding on to that Spellstone, like, just in case.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a similar strategy for the brief period that Undertaker Druid was a thing. Yep. People who think they're clever silencing or drawing out the naturalize get surprised when you hit the Undertaker for 6 damage from hand.
Yep, the Spellstone advocates for some interesting stuff. Yep, we are seeing the Innovate Spellstone on the Hakar.
Mm-hmm.
Put the Corrupted Bloods into the deck. And once again, Cat's going to draw 1 Corrupted Blood, put 2 into the deck, and then on the following turn, the Togwaggle Naturalize is just going to be lethal. So unless the teacher can end the game on this turn, which seems unlikely given the state of her current hand, Cat's gonna go to 2-0 with this Hakar Druid. The one deck in her lineup that we thought was, ill-suited against the teacher's decks is just possibly going to sweep.
Yeah, teacher's sitting with 10 damage and minions, 2 for the hero power, but no other way to just, to burst out any damage. This is...
Yep, 2 more from the Tundra Rhino, 1 more from the Camel Shot.
Not enough. Certainly not in the range of 40-something damage. Against any other control plan, this would be enough. Teacher, considering, is there a way to survive the coming turns, the coming Corrupted Blood combination? But
the answer is no.
No. All credit for the teacher to playing it out and trying to find a way out. But we're going to see Cat develop this Hakar combo a second time.
Yep, Cat's piloting of this deck has been outstanding so far. I am hugely impressed.
I have no cards left.
And here we go.
First Corrupted Blood comes out. 2 more get dumped into the deck. Togwaggle Naturalized. Cat not hesitating for a second. She knows exactly how this game ends, and it ends just like this.
Almost out of cards. I'm out of cards.
Serenade Chain Gang, eat your heart out. How long can this go on, Rebub?
Far too long. Far too long.
I feel like there was a similar problem with another card at some point where they had to cut the animations once you died because otherwise it would go on for minutes. Is that Shutterwalk, maybe?
Shutterwalk, they did nerf the animation time before they then nerfed the OTK combo as well, because it was a long, it became a thing that streamers would do to try and just make the longest Shutterwork turn they could. I think
right,
because people were doing it for literally 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And your opponent would just get stuck in this kind of loop where you couldn't concede, you couldn't leave. You just had to sit there and watch this thing happen over and over again. You just
Oof. Well, fortunately, that was not 10 minutes. That was just under 1. But that 1 minute has put Cat up 2-0 with the unlikeliest of decks to get ahead 2-0 in last year's standing in that Hakar Druid. And now the teacher is down to just 1 remaining deck. The Even Paladin, maybe her best hope for turning this around, could even be, Rebob, a reverse sweep potential.
Yep. If it's going to be any of the teacher's decks, it is going to be Even Paladin, because there is still an odd Paladin left for Cat. So that is just a very good matchup for the Even Paladin anyway. And apparently Even Paladin is slightly favoured against Spellhunter as well. But we've seen the way Cat triplets this Hakar Druid, and we
Whew.
know that it's just not going to be easy. But there is the Corpse Taker.
Yeah, that's the big minion that becomes part of kind of the ideal scenario for the even paladin. You get that corpse taker down early, you put a blessing of kings on it, and you just cruise to a victory, hopefully. But that does this druid deck does have ways to answer it though. We have spellstones, we have wrath, even a naturalize in an emergency. So we'll
Yeah.
see if Cat can fight off that mid-range power of this even lock or even paladin and sweep the series.
We shall see. So you say there is the Wrath there. Like, there is just an answer for Corpse Taker in this hand right now in Moonfire Wrath.
Yep. First couple of turns will be a bit of a gimme for the teacher here. Hero power into that 2-drop whose name I forget.
The Argent Protector.
There we go, Archer Protector. I have been up since 2 a.m. To cast this wonderful series, so some of these card names are going down the memory hole, Rebob.
And you know, just losing it in your old age.
Yeah, there's also that. You know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being another Hearthstone dad, or at least a Hearthstone big brother, depending on how old you are. But yeah, here we go. Argent Protector setting up a sticky minion for this druid to have to deal with, and Cat going with the Wrath right away, Rebob.
Yep, so there goes that immediate answer for the Corpse Taker when it does come down. The teacher's just going to be playing as many minions as possible for the time being. And I think the reason Cat chose to draw there is because this hand is distinctly lacking a Wild Pyromancer. And I think it really needs one.
True enough, this would be a perfect situation to have one. And Cat just hitting the hero power here and waiting to see what develops on turn 4.
Now, Cat does not have a Wild Pyromancer, but the teacher has 2. I'm just going to keep jamming away at the face, put down the Corpse Taker. So this is a very threatening board from the teacher already. Cat's going to have to potentially go for the Moonfire hero power pounce just to remove this Corpse Taker, because the rule of Hearthstone in its current state is you don't leave Corpse Taker alive ever. It's, I think, the most intimidating card in the game at the moment, because it just leads to such bad things happening if it's ever left alive. And it's left alive.
Yeah,
There's no
that
Blessing
is.
King, though.
Yeah, and you know, that's a huge risk for Cat to take, and it's kind of what we have talked about in previous series. It's sometimes you just say, I'm going to play to win. I'm not going to play to not lose. And Cat very carefully measuring how much time she has if a Blessing of Kings hit that Corpse Taker, but I don't know that she was accounting for a Sunkeeper Terra. So that Wild Pyromancer has to come into play right now.
Yep, and let's see what Cat can do with this Gadget Zantern. It's got to be quite a lot. Fluke's Glorious Gleep can, of course, get absolutely ridiculous things to happen, as we saw previously.
And that may be part of the calculation, but get that 0-mana Moonfire. There's the Pyromancer.
But it can't be played just yet. Like, a couple more minions need to die.
This is like watching chess. It's just such a beautiful thing. I just gotta kind of respect it and let it happen.
Yeah, I think Cat made a slight miscalculation there.
Yeah.
And thought that she could go off with the Fluke's Glorious Gleep when she, in fact, could not. So
right.
That is going to... So that is 18 on the board with the True Silver Champion. It is, in fact, just lethal. So we'll see if the teacher spots the lethal. yeah, Avenging Wrath would not be guaranteed lethal. So the teacher's going to
Yeah.
make the attacks, and then when she sees that number 4 at the end of it, she's going to. There's not going to be a case of spotting it at the start of the turn. She'll just see. And could this be the start of the reverse sweep someday?
Could be. And I with as much respect as the teacher has put on the Gadgets and Auctioneer, I really like her taking a moment to consider rather than reflexively attacking into that Gadgets and Auctioneer. So that keeping her cool there has allowed her to stay in this series. It's now 2-1 in favor of Cat, but the Hakar Druid is retired, and the teacher has one of the strongest decks in the game at her disposal. So she will stay on the even paladin. Cat will go with the hunter.
Of course, this is Cat's pet deck, as it were.
Yes.
Begin.
She loves Spell Hunter, and she did hit that #1 legend on 2 servers with this deck, with this build of this deck as well. So you could say she's quite familiar with it, and she probably knows a lot of the matchups very well. This one being one of them.
And that not only did she get the #1 position in the legend rank, she held it for weeks with just this
We
deck.
have turned our curse
Like a
into
lot of
our
people will
strength.
switch decks, to try to counter queue, opponents that you see often that high up in the ladder. But she's stuck with this deck. So yeah, she's done so many repetitions with this deck. It's gonna be a treat to watch her pilot this.
Reporting for duty.
So first things to note from players' individual hands. Cat has Deathstalker Exile, which is just the most powerful card against Even Paladin, because they just can't keep up with the just repetitive value that you gain. It means the Even Paladin has a clock, and they need to kill you fast.
And this opening hand from the teacher is a little bit awkward for the start. Like there's a number of 6 drops there in the hand early on. Oof, Huff for coming out to play.
We always like to see that.
Deadly Shot, another really important card in this matchup that'll allow Cat to answer one of those big buffed minions from Blessing of Kings.
And some interesting choices here from the teacher.
Yeah.
Did not get the Noble Sacrifice that I think she was hoping for. It does get Auto Defense Matrix, which will allow just a nice kind of reverse value trade, as it kind of was.
Yeah.
Cat getting some value from the flare against Even
wow.
Paladin is always quite funny to see.
And look at this explosive trap coming off the top, answers the minions on board that the teacher has, and no Blessing of Kings to protect those minions. So that explosive trap pickup was actually pretty big in this stage of the game.
Yeah, so the teacher's going to have to think about what their secret could be, because there is 1 copy of Freezing Trap and 2 copies each of Wandering Monster and Explosive Trap. One Wandering Monster was discarded by tracking, but of course the teacher does not know that. So, and I think we can all kind of rule out Freezing Trap as something that Cat is unlikely to play in this situation.
Yeah, not the kind of snap play that you would expect in given this specific game state. So the trap is checked first with the trade and gets tougher off the board. So I think the teacher has a lot of information now about what that trap is. Probably thinking either Wandering Monster or Explosive Trap. And now she knows.
Gets the news that it's explosive, and just hands back board initiative to Cat, but Cat doesn't really have anything to follow up with, as it were. Really wants just any kind of minion to play this turn, but does not get one.
Yeah, this would be a great position for a Spellstone, and I'm sure the teacher is breathing a sigh of relief that she's not seeing one being played here. Although the snipe is actually an interesting play, because depending on the minion that the teacher tries to develop on turn 5, heading into a potential Spikeridge D turn, that snipe could really play havoc with her plans.
Yep, and the teacher does know that one of these secrets was created by Secret Plan, so there is actually the possibility of snipe, and because of the possibility of snipe, chooses to play the Argent Commander over either the more appetize over what would be your kind of obvious play in that scenario, which would be get out the wind, Curiapi, I want to hit him in the face.
Right. Yeah, it's another heads up play from the teacher. I mean, I really like the way the teacher has been responding to Cat's developments on the board. You know, the game felt a little helpless at times against the Hakar Druid, but there have been some specific game states that the teacher needed to check for. And she's done a great job of working around, although didn't use the weapon to check that trap. So
Yeah, I would
now
have
the
liked.
Archer Commander goes down.
Yeah, I think I would have gone for the weapon swing interface there. It would have been a little bit punished by the second explosive trap, but I think having seen one explosive trap, it is just more likely that you see a wandering monster.
And you know, there's always the option that the wandering monster spawns a one attack minion. There are several in the 3-drop slot, so calculated risk perhaps from the teacher. But now she's finally up to 6 mana, can start playing out some of these options she's got in hand. But she's on the back foot now. That to my side has generated quite a lot of power for Cat.
Yep, and Kat has played this very aggressively. She got the Huffer and just sent 8 to face with it. And that aggressive play is going to start being rewarded very soon with this double to my side. There's a 66% chance of more Huffers. And these minions need to be answered, and the teacher's life is starting to get very low.
Yeah, this will hit her down to 14 off of the healing from the True Silver. Look at this, just minion after minion after minion.
Just Huffers.
Another
So
Huffer.
many Huffers.
Deadly Shot gonna answer the minion on board. Look at this, the teacher's down to 7.
Yeah.
You don't think of a clock being something that the spell hunter can generate, but it absolutely can if it gets all its minion cards.
Yeah, so if you're watching and you want to know how to approach the Spell Hunter even Paladin matchup, the answer is hit them in the face back.
And with this play, excuse me,
Reporting for duty.
this play will get the Huffer off the board, but as you noted, there's a 2 and 3 chance that this other to my side generates another. Is going to end the game on the
Huffer.
spot. Unbelievable.
I don't think I've ever seen so many Huffers in like 8 turns.
That is,
I believe-
is a large number.
Yeah, so both animal companions hit Huffers and both
Yep.
to my sides hit Huffers.
Well, you're more likely than not to see it on the to my side, but that was still just a raw 1 and 3 on the animal companion. But all those Huffers are going to bring Cat into winning the series now, 3-1 over the teacher. The teacher will be going down to the lower bracket to try to battle back into the tournament. Cat will be moving on, waiting for her next opponent. Rebob, thank you so much for casting this match with me. It's been a real treat.
It has been a pleasure. It always is to cast with you, Cinder, and that was a fantastic match. The way Cat piloted both those decks was a real lesson to me. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I hope people watching have learned something as well. Cat is a fantastic player, but the teacher did approach it very well herself,
Yeah.
and some great play, and I'm sure she'll do very well in the lower bracket as well. It was a fantastic match, so I'm sure the quality on stream for the rest of the day is just going to be equally fantastic, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and we've got more to come. We have 2 more matches for the day, and then we've got the rest of the bracket to resolve tomorrow. So don't go anywhere. Keep this browser tab open right now. And if you have to leave, follow the channel just so that you get a notification when we're back. But we're not going anywhere. We're leaving the stream on, and we're going to be back with another match for you for this top 8 playoff for the European bracket for the Badass Women of Hearthstone. Don't go anywhere.